Hi and welcome to Explore History on YouTube. Today what I want to talk about is a document I picked up a few weeks back at an auction, and it's one of those ones that I just couldn't resist. Very simple document, but very unique. And what we have here is this Army Book 425. It's a pilot's flying logbook from the First World War. So very rare pieces, you don't come across a lot of them. This isn't from a pilot who is actually fighting on the Western Front. What we have here is actually his school notes. So this is the log of the training which he's going through in 1918 in preparation to going to the front. And it makes for really interesting reading. You can see there's not a lot of information in a source like this, but when you go through the whole source, you really get a sense for how he's developing and how hurried the training is. The dates for this are actually quite incredible when you see it. His training starts in May of 1918, and he's kind of ready to go, finish his training by mid-June. So very quick turnaround, very intensive training, but also one of the things it really hit me when I was reading it is just how quickly they're going through this. I mean, a month of training, and quite a bit of it, it takes place, the same kind of training day in, day out, just to get the basics. Taking off and landing. He spends an awful lot of his time just trying to figure out how to land a plane properly. And so in the work, every day you get kind of the same thing. You get the date and hour in which he's training, the pilot, so you get his name, which was Lieutenant Sutherland. You get the machine types, the type of plane which he's flying, passengers, if there is one. Here he's got self written, the time that he's doing it, so how long, so 35 minutes, and he went to a height of 1,000 feet. The course is local, and then he has remarks. Practice landings and taking off. Had a little trouble in keeping machines straight when taking off. And so that's very simple. Every day when he's doing his training, that's kind of what he's doing. And then on the same day, he's up again. Another 35 minutes, 1,000 feet. And he says, made one or two good takings off, but not got the tail high enough. Landings flatten out rather too quickly. Also left wing low. So he's identifying some of the problems he's having in controlling the plane. And this goes on for page after page for just over a month, about 6 weeks of training. And some of it is quite interesting. Some of them, you're reading them and I thought, did he really say this? Some are longer journeys. So he's up around Lincolnshire, so sometimes he's going and kind of doing a flyover of Lincoln, and he mentions seeing the town and then getting back. At one point he gets lost. It's very windy, very foggy, and he gets lost and he ends up having to land in a field and then get the plane back. Also, some of his landings were really problematic at times. Here's one here, 22nd, 5th of 18. He did a solo flight, went up to 4,000 feet. He went to Boston, so a bit further afield from where he was training. He found the air very bumpy up to 1,000 feet. But was quite all right above. Did not make such a good landing. So we see that a lot. Did vertical banks and landings. Turns very good. Also landings. Did turns with engine throttle down. Also spiral down and landings. So he's increasing as we go the difficulty of what he's doing. Learning how to make those turns and so on in the air. Because of course he's going to be involved in potentially in dogfights. He's going to need to know how to get away from someone or to take them by surprise. A couple of times he mentions some problems with the plane. At one point he mentions the propeller coming off when he lands. And so, a couple real problems like that. And here it is at Lincoln, lost my way, found myself the other side of Lincoln. On the 31st of May, he did his first formation. Did formation for first time, which was very good. Kept together the whole time. So it's going from learning how to get the plane off the ground and get the basics, to more complex flying, to then flying in formations, which later in the war became the standard. Early on it was pilots going one-on-one in a dogfight. Very quickly this changed where it was formations of planes using groups, so kind of like a wolf pack going in and attacking the enemy. Much more effective. And so he has to learn that and how you work with your teammates, basically. Here he has one here. Practice landing, landed in a field, lost propeller, but got home quite all right after machine was started up. And so Again, really limited information in it, but it's also kind of a wealth of information, because when you take it all together, you really see how this individual was training, how quick they were doing the training. 6 weeks and he's ready to go into combat. I find that quite incredible. And it tells us a lot about the nature of the war at this time, how important it was to get people to the front, the high loss of life, the number of casualties for pilots. This was a new technology at this time. When the war breaks out in 1914, planes had only been around for a decade or so, and they're kind of glorified kites. They're held together with string. And so they're really evolving. At the same time, how they're used is evolving, and the training is evolving, all at this to try and meet the needs of the war, from reconnaissance to fighting machines to bombers. And of course, even during the First World War, we get the first seaplanes being developed. And so this is an enormous leap forward in technology and in training, which is what we see in this document here. Hope you've enjoyed that little video, and a very interesting kind of document, something unusual. And if you like it, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can follow us on Twitter or Facebook and Instagram, and there'll be lots more interesting documents coming up in the future. Cheers.